and welcome to the webinar for the UG Admissions 2020 in the question and answer session being organized by Hansraj College, University of Delhi. I am Dr. Jaya Malhotra from Department of Zoology, Hansraj College. I welcome our dynamic and young aspirants who are seeking admission in Delhi University in the undergraduate courses. To ease up your building apprehensions, we are fortunate to have our advisory panel, our experts from the University of Delhi, who can help you in guiding you to reach your motto seamlessly. I express my heartfelt gratitude and I like to introduce our eminent dignitaries from Delhi University. We have Professor Shobha Bagai, Dean Admissions, Dr. Haneet Gandhi, Deputy Dean Admissions. Ma'am will be joining us soon, any moment. Dr. Geeta.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am. Hello. Okay. So, Dr. Haneet Gandhi, Deputy Dean Admissions, has already joined. Dr. Geeta Bhatt, Director NC Web. Dr. Suman Kumar, Member. Ma'am, 1 minute. Dr. Suman Kumar, Member Admission Branch. We welcome you all.
Dr. U.S. Pandey also. Jia, Dr. U.S. Pandey also.
Okay, right. Dr. U.S. Pandey, OSD Campus of Open Learning. I'm so sorry, sir. We welcome you all. We have among with us our Principal Ma'am of Hansraj College, Dr. Rama. We also have Dr. Anand Sonkar from Department of Botany, Hansraj College, who is also the member of Admission Branch, Delhi University. But before starting up the session, I take the pleasure to invite Dr. Rama, our Principal Ma'am, to welcome our panel of experts and the students. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Jaya. Namaskar. Dr. Anand Sonkar, Webinar Coordinator. Dr. Jia, Webinar Convener. Hansraj College की फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, एडमिशन कमेटी से, दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी की एडमिशन कमेटी से जुड़े हुए, सबसे पहले तो मैं इन सभी लोगों को कहना चाहिए कि सैल्यूट करती हूँ. सैल्यूट इन द सेंस कि आप लोग जो दिन रात लगे हुए हैं, जो कोविड-19 के दौरान जिन सर्कमस्टांसेस में भी आप लोग स्टूडेंट्स के एडमिशंस को लेकर पूरा दिन रात लगे हुए हैं, लगता है कि दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के एडमिशंस बहुत अच्छे से होंगे. जैसे डॉक्टर जिया ने बताया, हमारे साथ डीन एडमिशन प्रोफेसर शोभा बगई, डॉक्टर हनीत डिप्टी डीन, डॉक्टर गीता भट्ट डायरेक्टर नॉन कॉलेजिएट विमेंस एजुकेशन बोर्ड, डॉक्टर यूएस पांडे ओएसडी कैंपस ऑफ ओपन लर्निंग, डॉक्टर सुमन कुमार मेंबर एडमिशन ब्रांच. आप देख रहे हैं कि दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी की एडमिशन कमेटी की हमारी टीम जो है साथ में है. ना केवल रेगुलर स्टूडेंट्स बल्कि डॉक्टर गीता भट्ट हमारे साथ हैं, वो बताएंगे कि नॉन कॉलेजिएट के एडमिशंस कैसे, उसमें यदि कोई दिक्कत आ रही है. डॉक्टर यूएस पांडे जो कि ओपन स्कूल कैंपस ऑफ ओपन लर्निंग के एडमिशंस के लिए हमारे साथ हैं. तो रेगुलर, नॉन कॉलेजिएट, ओपन लर्निंग, आपने देखा कि तीनों ही हमने स्ट्रीम्स को अपने साथ रखा हुआ है. मैं अपने स्पेशल पैनल का हंसराज कॉलेज के बिहाफ पर आप लोगों का हार्दिक अभिनंदन करती हूँ, आप लोगों का वेलकम करती हूँ. बहुत ज्यादा टाइम ना लेते हुए मैं ये कोविड-19 में एडमिशन कमेटी के लिए, सभी के लिए अच्छे स्वास्थ्य के शुभकामनाएं देते हुए आप लोग प्रसन्न रहे, स्वस्थ रहे. और जितने हमारे साथ आज पार्टिसिपेंट्स, खासतौर पे जो स्टूडेंट्स जुड़ रहे हैं, जिन्होंने सपना देखा है दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी में एडमिशन लेने का, उनके कई डाउट्स हैं. पहले मैं उनको बधाई देती हूँ कि आज हमने वेबिनार रखा था और हंसराज के वेबिनार से ठीक एक दिन पहले सीबीएसई का रिजल्ट आ गया, जिससे मुझे लगता है कि इन स्टूडेंट्स के काफी डाउट्स क्लियर होंगे. तो इनको अपने अच्छे रिजल्ट के लिए सबको बधाई, और दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के एडमिशन के लिए सबको ऑल दी बेस्ट. थैंक यू वेरी मच जिया. थैंक यू.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for encouraging the students with your words of wisdom as always. I invite Professor Shobha Bagai, who is the Dean of Admissions, to address the session. Ma'am, please. Shobha Bagai, ma'am.
Yeah, so a very, very good evening.
Hello, Professor Shobha. Hello, welcome.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening. कैसे हैं आप? Thank you, in fact. Thank you, in fact.
Welcome once again.
So first of all, thanks to the the committee, the convening committee of Hansraj College and the principal Dr. Rama Bhargav. for giving us this opportunity, to interact with the applicants, and I think the more that we interact with the applicants, and we really hope that, we are able to clear off most of their doubts, because we can, actually understand. हमारे टाइम पे तो शायद इतना नहीं था, but each one of us have been parents to, our children who have gone through this process. So we do understand the anxiety that, all the applicants out over there are going, and specifically now with the results being out. So first of all, congratulations to all the applicants who have joined us through this webinar. The registration process for admission to Delhi University 2020 had already commenced from 20th of June. So we are almost now towards the fag end of the registration, because the registration process, it closes on 18th June 2020. And I think till now, because the applicants have been making use of our help desk facility, so whatever queries had been coming, more or less, they have been already been answered. We have had certain webinars even at the university level. Those videos have been put up at the website. Other FAQs which were asked during the webinars have also been put up on the website. So we'll request all the applicants to go through that. I think we're almost now on the verge of entering the second phase of the admissions, and that basically is, you have all got your results. So now how do you update your results on the portal? So all those applicants, who have already paid the registration fees, when you enter your portal once again using your registered email ID, you will be getting a tab which says update of your academic details. Now, when you enter that, you can update your marks out over there. The facility to upload your mark sheet may not be available right now, but in a day or two, we shall be telling you about that, how you can edit other details in case you have made, any errors in your application form, and how are you going to upload your updated certificates. So that notice will now be coming up on the Delhi University website in a day or two. So kindly be on the lookout of that notification on the website. So once when we complete that process, then the next phase starts. And, I could look at all the questions that have been popping up in the chat box. I think most of you are quite now worried about how are the cutoff going to be announced. This time during the registration process, we did not ask the students to choose the college and the course during the time of a registration. So I think there are also queries that are going to come out, is that how are we going to get the choices to choose a college and the courses? And I think during this webinar, we shall be taking up queries related to that also. And when are the cutoffs going to be announced? So the CBSE certainly has announced the results, but naturally the admission process of the University of Delhi is also interlinked with the other factors. And one of them is also that we wait for the NTA to conduct the NEET and the JEE examination. And that, as most of us must have read in the media and also have seen it on the NTA website, that is going to be held sometimes in the month of September. So I think the admission process tentatively is going to start somewhere in the middle of September for the University of Delhi. So do not be anxious. Enjoy this moment. Your results are out. And I think most of the students, you are quite happy with the kind of the results that you have got, because we have been reading in the newspaper that there are lots of students who are now coming in the 90% above bracket, and almost double since last year, who are coming in the bracket of 95%. So, you on one hand, you're very happy with the kind of a result, but I think on the second hand, there is an anxiety also with so many students getting high percentage this year. What is going to happen to cutoff? So right now, we'll come to all those queries when we proceed through the webinar. My request to all the applicants and my suggestion to all the applicants would be, do not worry. Do not worry what course you're going to get, what college you're going to get. At the end of the day, first of all, follow what your passion is. choose your courses very, very diligently, what you want to pursue. So if you want to pursue a certain course, kindly give the preference of your course choice, because you're going to stay with that course for the next 3 years, and that is also going to determine your future path. So choose your course very correctly, and then depends upon which college you want to enter it. Of course, the peer pressure is there, and Hansraj is again one of our very, very a known college of the North Campus. Everybody dreams about that. Some of you, you may be able to get it. Some of you, you may not be able to get it. But at the end of the 3 years, it does not make too much of a difference. So all the best to all the applicants, and maybe all these queries that are popping up on the chat box will start taking up once when we reach the question and answer session. So over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think with your these words, they are already a bit relaxed, and as we move on to the webinar further, they would be clear of their all queries. Thank you so much, ma'am. I now request Professor Geeta Bhatt, Director NC Web, to please give some insights regarding the admission process. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Jayaji. I would like to first of all thank the organizers of this webinar, the Hansraj College, for inviting me and giving the Non-Collegiate Women Education Board a platform to tell about the admission process and the courses that we are running under the NC Web board. Well, Hansraj College is a very, very well-known college of University of Delhi, and under the dynamic leadership of Ramaji, I think every year many new feathers keep getting added to their cap. So I congratulate her and the whole team, Jaya ji as well as Anand Sonkar ji, for organizing this seminar, and especially in these challenging and exceptional circumstances. These kind of webinars are very, very helpful for the students, aspirants who are looking forward to coming and joining various colleges of University of Delhi. Non-Collegiate Women Education Board is an institution which has been there since 1944. And the whole idea of starting this institution was to encourage women to come into higher education and take college degrees. And it is interesting to also note that the first girl students who got degree from the University of Delhi were from Non-Collegiate Women Education Board, and there were 3 of them whose names were also written in the Executive Council minutes. But of course, later on, women students have been part and parcel of the regular colleges, and Non-Collegiate Women Education Board now has taken up another role, and that is to cater for such kind of girl students who are, because of any reason, not able to join a regular college. तो क्योंकि अंग्रेजी काफी लोगों को समझ में आती है, लेकिन हिंदी तो सभी को ही समझ में आती है, तो इसलिए मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में इस विषय को रखना चाहूंगी कि नॉन कॉलेजिएट वुमेन एजुकेशन बोर्ड जो है गर्ल स्टूडेंट्स के लिए है, छात्राओं के लिए है, और उनके लिए है, उन गर्ल स्टूडेंट्स के लिए है जो कि दिल्ली की निवासी हैं। बाकी जितनी भी जो एडमिशन कमेटी ने जो भी गाइडलाइंस बनाई हैं एडमिशन करने की, और जो उन लोगों ने जो भी पैरामीटर्स रखे हैं, वो सारे के सारे नॉन कॉलेजिएट के लिए भी है। सिर्फ एक एक्स्ट्रा है, और वो है कि जो छात्राएं दिल्ली की रहने वाली हैं, जिनका दिल्ली का रेजिडेंट प्रूफ है, वो ही नॉन कॉलेजिएट वुमेन एजुकेशन बोर्ड के थ्रू एडमिशन लेके दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय से डिग्री ले सकती है। हमारे यहाँ अंडर ग्रेजुएट कोर्स 26 कॉलेजेस में चलते हैं, इसका मतलब 26 सेंटर्स हैं, जिनमें से 17 हमारे सेंटर ऐसे हैं जो संडे को चलते हैं, वीकेंड क्लासेस होती हैं यहाँ पे। कोर्स हम वही पढ़ाते हैं जो रेगुलर कॉलेज में पढ़ाया जाता है। 2 कोर्सेज रन होते हैं, एक बीए का और एक बीए प्रोग्राम और बीकॉम का अंडर ग्रेजुएट में। हमारे यहाँ एक पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट का भी एक कॉलेज है, लेकिन उसकी जो क्लासेस हैं वो नॉर्थ कैंपस में ही लगती हैं। इन जितने भी ये सेंटर हैं, इनमें से 17 जो सेंटर हैं उनमें संडे को क्लासेस लगती हैं, और बाकी जो 9 हैं उनमें सैटरडे को क्लासेस लगती हैं। तो आप ये मान के चलिए कि जो बाकी बच्चे 5 या 6 दिन रेगुलर जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो रोज कॉलेज जाते हैं, जो नॉन कॉलेजिएट में पढ़ने वाली छात्राएं हैं वो 1 दिन के लिए कॉलेज अटेंड करती हैं, और उनकी पूरी रेगुलर क्लासेस होती हैं, जिन क्लासेस में उनका सारा सिलेबस पूरा कराया जाता है। और एग्जाम वही देती है। तो अभी जैसे LOCF बेस्ड जो CBCS कोर्स चल रहा है दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय में, वही कोर्स NC वेब की भी छात्राएं बिल्कुल वही कोर्स पढ़ेंगी। डिग्री भी आपको दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय की ही मिलेगी। सिर्फ ये है कि आप रेगुलर कॉलेज नहीं अटेंड करके वीकेंड में क्लास अटेंड करेंगे। आपके लिए जो टीचर्स हैं वो सब जो UGC की मान्यताओं के द्वारा जो अपॉइंटमेंट की जो प्रक्रिया है उसी के द्वारा अपॉइंट होते हैं, और बहुत ही अच्छे सब गेस्ट फैकल्टी टीचर्स आते हैं जो आप लोगों की क्लासेस लेते हैं। तो इन 26 सेंटरों में जब भी जैसे ही आप एडमिशन का आपने फॉर्म भरा होगा और जैसे ही आपने अपना जो जेंडर टिक किया होगा, ऑटोमेटिकली आपका फॉर्म जो है, अगर आप दिल्ली के निवासी हैं तो आपका फॉर्म NC वेब के लिए ऑटोमेटिकली सेलेक्ट हो जाता है। और बाद में आप जब हम अपनी कट ऑफ निकालेंगे उस समय आप कट ऑफ के हिसाब से, जैसे रेगुलर कॉलेज के लिए कट ऑफ निकलती है वैसे ही NC वेब के सेंटर्स के लिए भी कट ऑफ निकलती है, और उन सेंटर्स में आपका जहां कट ऑफ में आपका नाम आएगा या आपकी परसेंटेज में जहां आप एलिजिबल होंगे वहां आप एडमिशन ले सकते हैं। लेकिन आपको ये सलाह देंगे, लेकिन आप प्रेफर ये करिए कि जो आपके घर के पास का जो सेंटर हो वहां आप एडमिशन लें। दूसरी बात, अगर आपने एक NC वेब सेंटर पे एडमिशन ले लिया तो उसके बाद आप दूसरे में चेंज नहीं कर सकते। ये जो बुलेटिन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन है दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय ने जो निकाला है उसमें भी बड़े साफ साफ शब्दों में सारी बातें दी गई हैं कि आपने एक जब सेंटर पे एडमिशन ले लिया तो उसके बाद आप उसको चेंज करके दूसरे NC वेब सेंटर पर नहीं अपना एडमिशन एक तरह से ट्रांसफर करा सकते, जो ज्यादातर रेगुलर कॉलेजेस में आप कर सकते हैं जब आपका कट ऑफ एक जगह से दूसरी जगह आता है। हम अपनी कट ऑफ ज्यादातर जब रेगुलर कॉलेज का 3rd कट ऑफ आता है या 4th कट ऑफ आता है उसके साथ हम अपना एडमिशन का प्रोसेस शुरू करते हैं। तो जब आप अगर NC वेब में आप एडमिशन लेने के इच्छुक हैं तो आप 3rd कट ऑफ के समय हमारा जो दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय का पोर्टल है और जो NC वेब का पोर्टल है, उन दोनों पोर्टल्स पे आप ये कट ऑफ्स को देख सकते हैं एडमिशन लेने के लिए। आपके पास दिल्ली का निवासी होने के लिए रेजिडेंट प्रूफ होना जरूरी है, जिसके लिए आप अपना आधार कार्ड सबमिट कर सकते हैं, आप अपना पासपोर्ट का कॉपी सबमिट कर सकते हैं, आप अपना ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस सबमिट कर सकते हैं, आप अपना राशन कार्ड और वोटर ID कार्ड, इनमें से कोई भी एक डॉक्यूमेंट आप अपने जिसमें आपका एड्रेस गिवन हो और आपका नाम हो वो आप उसे आप सबमिट करा सकते हैं। तो एक सिर्फ यही एक डॉक्यूमेंट है जो एक तरह से एक्स्ट्रा डॉक्यूमेंट है, बाकी पूरी प्रक्रिया बिल्कुल वही है। दूसरा, इस बार कोविड के कारण एडमिशन जो है वो कॉन्टैक्टलेस होने वाले हैं। आपने कहीं भी किसी सेंटर में फिजिकली जाके आपने एडमिशन नहीं लेना है। एडमिशन लेने के लिए आपको अपने घर से ही पूरी ऑनलाइन इसकी सुविधा दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय पूरी सुविधा आपको इसके लिए देगा। इसके लिए पूरा जो प्रोटोकॉल है, ऑनलाइन प्रोटोकॉल सेटअप किया जाएगा, जिससे कि आप अपना फी भरने से पहले, डॉक्यूमेंट अपलोड करने से पहले सब प्रक्रिया आप ऑनलाइन ही करेंगे। तो कृपया इस बात का ध्यान रखें कि आपको सेंटर में नहीं जाना है। खास करके वो विद्यार्थी छात्राएं जो कि किसी कारण से ज्यादातर वो कई ऐसे विद्यार्थी हैं जो कि नौकरी भी कर रहे हैं और साथ में अपनी पढ़ाई करना चाहते हैं, उनके लिए NC वेब बोर्ड के थ्रू दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय में डिग्री लेना आसान है और वो आप नौकरी भी कर सकते हैं और साथ साथ में वीकेंड में क्लासेस भी अटेंड कर सकते हैं। और एक महत्वपूर्ण आखिरी में अपनी बात कहूंगी, वो ये है कि आप जब NC वेब से कोर्स कर रहे हैं तो उसके साथ आप कोई भी फुल टाइम कोर्स जो है वो आप नहीं कर सकते। ये बात का आप खास ध्यान रखें, कोई भी दूसरा फुल टाइम कोर्स या डिग्री कोर्स आप NC वेब के साथ नहीं कर सकते हैं। तो आप जो भी छात्राएं जो NC वेब में एडमिशन लेना चाहें, कृपया दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय की वेबसाइट और हमारी जो वेबसाइट है उसको आप देखते रहें और जैसे भी उसमें नोटिफिकेशंस आएंगे उसी प्रक्रिया को आपको आगे फॉलो करना है। मैं एक बार फिर से धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगी हंसराज कॉलेज को और इस वेबिनार के ऑर्गेनाइजर्स को कि आपने इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे मुझे यहाँ निमंत्रण दिया। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सो मच मैम, धन्यवाद आपका भी, बिकॉज हमारे को बहुत सारी क्वेरीज इसीलिए आ रही थी कि एडमिशन्स कैसे होंगे, ऑनलाइन होगा, और आपने बहुत क्लियरली उनको पूरा प्रोसीजर थोड़े से ही टाइम में बहुत इजीली समझा दिया। थैंक यू सो मच मैम। नाउ आई एम मूविंग फॉरवर्ड। मैं डॉक्टर US पांडे सर को रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि सर प्लीज बच्चों को थोड़ा सा एड्रेस कीजिए। सर प्लीज।
Very good afternoon, and as usual, This is a really great opportunity for us exactly to providing the platform to interact with the student. So special thanks in the beginning itself to the Jaya and Sonkar Saab and Ramaji. Now, very importantly, as Geeta ji has pointed out, the School of Open Learning is the oldest institution, the biggest, first distance education mode institution in India, established in 1962. And what is the very important thing is we are fully IT enabled. So even in this time, our process is very simple. Go into our website and get registered, and within 4 or 5 minutes hardly you can be admitted into the School of Open Learning. And again, we are running 5 undergraduate courses: BA, BA program, BCom honors, political science honors, and English honors. So these are the 5 reputed courses we are running in the undergraduate, and we are running 5 PG courses also, postgraduate courses, that is in MCom, MA History, MA Sanskrit, MA Political Science, and MA in Hindi. Now, as it's a part of the Delhi University, so exactly the same criteria as in the University of Delhi as a separate, the same criteria is being followed. The only difference is what we are doing in basically we are doing in dual mode system. So dual mode in the sense we are providing the students to lot of facility. We provide the study material to each and every student, and the same LOCF based just learning outcome based syllabus is going to be being followed there also. You are going to get the same degree of Delhi University. Only difference is that you need not to attend the classes. It's not compulsory. Meaning by that at this stage where the students are pursuing different courses simultaneously with doing the same regular courses, they are free to do. So they can do the entrepreneurship, or they are doing some other kind of courses, especially those who are doing the CA and all. So they have to do become honors only from School of Open Learning. So there are many courses are there, and very easy process. We are also conducting classes on weekends, or Sunday and Saturday and holidays. Not only this, we have just recently conducted in this COVID situation more than 1,000 online classes in a very secured environment. The very important thing in our case, because we have a lakhs of students, very secured environment for all the boys and girls. We have created a special ID to each and every student, because what we are doing, we are just interacting to the dashboard. For every student, for every teacher, we have created a dashboard on the website. So a student can have an interaction through dashboard, each and every information from the time of admission, any kind of document if a student required, admit card, mark sheet, or all the related documents, each and everything can be easily accessed through the student dashboard. So what I'm not repeating so many things in that way, because we are part of Delhi University system, and all the criteria is almost same, exactly just like Delhi University follows. Only thing is that we start with a minimum criteria, and you can get it registered for BCom honors, political science honors, English honors, or BA program like that. So this can be done easily. And the very important thing, how is it going to be different, that we are conducting the face-to-face
providing with the study material.
It is in the hard copies also, as well as we are providing in the online modes. So in different way of modes we are using to deliver the content. So this is going to be the uniqueness of a School of Open Learning of Delhi University. Thank you very much for providing the opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir, for coming up here. We are fortunate that we have all the experts with us today. Thank you so much. It is a note for our participants today that if by some reason you could not upload your questions during the registration process, please feel free to send it through the question and answer tab at the bottom of your screen. Or you can also send it through Facebook comments tab. If you're watching it through Facebook live streaming, we have posted the link of Facebook in the chat box already. We'll be answering your questions after the introductory presentation by Dr. Anand Sonkar, who will brief us about the admission process that includes both merit and entrance mode. Sir, please. Sir, you need to unmute.
Yeah, fine. Is that okay now? Can you hear me?
Sir, it's
Okay.
fine.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So the admission to undergraduate courses 2020. So as we all know that Delhi University offers admissions through by two ways. One is by the admission through merit courses, another is by entrance courses. So in merit, the applicants will be assessed on the basis of marks which they score in their class 12 board examination, and in entrance there would be a written examination which would be conducted by University of Delhi in collaboration with NTA. Now, for admission to undergraduate courses, all applicants must register through the University of Delhi online admission portal. There is no offline admission for any applicant. The registration doesn't ensure that the applicant would be granted admission. And in case you are seeking admission through merit, you have to meet the required cutoff. And if you are seeking admission through entrance, it has to be done through the merit list prepared by the entrance examination. Now, the entire admission procedure is to be completed online by the applicant using the unique login ID which you have created on the University of Delhi undergraduate admission portal. I'm sure most of you must have done this already, but if somebody has not done it, you can do it up to 18th of July. The applicants will be required to appear in person at the University of Delhi only for verification of certificates as per their schedule to be announced by the college and university. So now I'll move on to the merit-based admission to various undergraduate courses. So the first thing which you have to do now is that since your result has been declared is you update your marks on the portal. For this, just log in using your registered email ID and update your marks. And after that, you can relax till the first cutoff is being declared. Now, once the cutoff is being declared, at that time your work will start. So the exact dates for the release of cutoffs will be notified in due course of time. Applicants are advised to keep checking the website of University of Delhi. The cutoff percentage shall also be notified in leading daily newspapers in addition to University of Delhi website. The applicants are advised to calculate the best 3 or 4, whatever applicable, with extreme precaution. Applicants are also advised to refer to the detailed guidelines which are provided in the Bulletin of Information pertaining to eligibility of various courses. There are certain examples provided in the Appendix 9 where the calculation has also been shown. So whenever we talk about merit-based courses, there are two things which are very important and you should know, that is the list A and list B. These two lists, they are mentioned in the Bulletin of Information. List A contains language subjects and list B contains other academic or elective subjects. Now, in case the paper for which you have appeared in your class 12 doesn't exactly match with list B, then you should not be worried. You should be actually looking at the equivalence table which has been provided in the Bulletin of Information. So this is especially for those subjects from other boards other than CBSE where there is a variance in the name of paper. So look at this table and you find out your paper may be there. For example, if you look mathematics at various boards, there are different names which are being given. In Maharashtra, it's mathematics and statistics. In Kerala, they also mention stream. Then in Karnataka, it is basic mathematics and so on. So like this, there is an entire annexure where you will be able to see your paper and whether it is equivalent to CBSE paper or not. Now, what if your paper title is not also there in the equivalence table? Then you can write to us. Please write an email to the help desk, and in the email, please provide the link of the syllabus of the paper, preferably from your board's website, and the paper title from list A or B with whom you want the equivalence to be determined. Now, a very important question which many of you ask, that how many subjects to add, whether 3 or 4. So there are course specific requirements. In some courses you have to add 3, in some courses you have to add 4. So these are some of the courses where you will be adding best of 4. So most of the humanities courses you will be required to add best of 4. In some science courses also you have to add best 4, like BSc Honors Computer Science, BSc Honors Mathematics and Statistics, BSc Mathematical Sciences, and BSc Past Home Science. Then most of the science courses you have to have aggregate of 3. I have not used the word best of 3 because here these subjects are actually clearly mentioned and only those papers can be taken and no other paper can be considered for it. It has mostly the science courses. Now for determining best 3, best 4, the best way is first you read the eligibility condition in the bulletin of information carefully, then calculate the best 3 or 4 with extreme precaution, check for additional riders of eligibility for any specific course like requirement of mathematics for certain course, etc. Then look at the cutoff list which is notified by the university, find out the college and course where you are eligible to take admission. Now, when you're calculating the cutoff, please be careful of certain things like while calculating the best 3 or best 4, rounding off is not allowed. That means if your best 3 comes out to be 95.66 or best 4 as 95.75, it will not be taken as equivalent to 96. Now, once you are satisfied that you're eligible for a particular course in a college, log in using your registered email ID and select a course and college. Soon after selection of the particular combination of course and college, this option will freeze. And now the colleges will start working. Now what the college will do? The admission committee or in charge of the college will scrutinize your application form. The committee or in charge will calculate the cutoff percentage from the mark sheet that you have uploaded on the portal. The college will also verify all other supporting documents uploaded on the portal by applicant. In case of any discrepancy, college will contact the applicant for clarification either by email or phone. So here it is an advisory that you should be available on your phone and you should be checking your email regularly and also log in at your dashboard to see for any update. Then if the applicant falls on or above the cutoff percentage and all documents are in order, then college will approve the admission. This approval can be seen by the applicant in his or her dashboard. The applicants now will be able to see a tab, fee payment in their dashboard, click on that and pay the fee. Now in all cases, it is not going to happen. So what happens if the admission is not approved? In certain cases, it may be declined also. So it can happen due to various reasons. Number one, not meeting the cutoff percentage. There are invalid or incomplete documents. There can be fake or forged document, or there can be any other reason. But whatever is the reason, that reason would be informed to you. And still, if you feel that you deserve an admission, but you have not been granted one, you can contact the grievance committee of the college. Then if the admission is not approved in a particular cutoff, and if there is some time left in that particular cutoff, the applicant can again apply in some other course of college. For example, the first cutoff will be applicable for 3 days. So on day 1, you apply in a particular college for a particular course, but since you are not eligible, the college will decline your admission. So the next day or maybe the same day evening, you can again select some other course in some other college, or in fact in the same college, some other course can also be selected by you. So without wasting your time, you should actively look in your dashboard and then select the course. Your application will be again scrutinized for the new course or college you have applied for as the procedure I have mentioned. Now, if you are not able to secure admission in the first cutoff, then wait for second or further cutoffs to be released. There will be 5 cutoffs as planned as of now. The process of selecting course and college will remain the same as of first cutoff. And only those applicants would be eligible who have secured marks on or above the prevailing cutoff, but less than the previous cutoff. For example, the first cutoff was 96%, the second cutoff is 95%. So in second cutoff, only those applicants would be eligible who have secured 95% or more marks, but less than 96%. So applicants having 96% or more would not be eligible to take admission in the second cutoff. So it is advisable that check the cutoff carefully and apply in a particular course or college where you wish to take admission at the time when you are eligible. Because if you miss this chance, it will be very difficult for you to take admission in the subsequent cutoff. No, but because of any reason, if you missed, then there is a chance of special cutoff also. But this will be declared only if seats are left. So I would advise you not to take chance for this. Now, the last step of the merit-based admission would be physical verification of the certificates or documents. Now, for this, the exact dates will be notified by the respective colleges. The uploaded document will be verified within the stipulated time period. If at this stage it is found that the information given by the applicant is false and it is not supported by documents, the admission will be immediately cancelled and no fee will be refunded in such case. So with this, we are done with the merit-based admission, and now I briefly explain the entrance-based admission to various undergraduate courses. There are 7 faculties which offer admission through entrance for various courses at undergraduate level. There are about 12 courses where the admission can be taken through these entrance examination. The test would be conducted online. The dates would be notified in due course of time. It will be done in collaboration with the National Testing Agency. Now, once the test is done, the merit list will be drawn according to the marks which you obtain in your examination. The selection and admission here will be done according to the merit list prepared on the basis of marks secured in the written examination, or in some cases, there can be a weighted average of various components. Like the Faculty of Applied Social Sciences and Humanities, the entrance test would get 65% weightage and the qualifying examination would get 35% weightage. The pattern of entrance test would be a multiple choice question, and the paper will be for 2 hours duration. There will be 100 questions. Each correct questions will get 4 marks, and each wrong answer will get 1 mark, -1, and 0 if you do not attempt it. So in nutshell, for for entrance based courses, first you have to register, pay the registration fee. Please make sure that you pay the registration fee, because by the time you do not pay your registration fee, the process is incomplete. Then you appear for the entrance test. There will be declaration of results. Then the portal will reopen for alteration of courses, college options, which you all must have given while filling up the registration form. Then there will be allotment of course and college by the university. Then there will be online verification of documents. Then you pay the fee, and then there is a physical verification of documents. Now, in case there is a tie for a particular rank, then what will happen? The applicant with higher percentage of marks in the best 4 in the qualifying examination will be considered first for allotment or admission. If this is also same, then the applicant with higher marks in the entrance test would be preferred. If this is also same, then the applicant with higher percentage of marks of all 5 papers in the qualifying examination will be considered. And if this also happens to be same, the date of birth would be seen, and the earlier born candidate would be given the preference. Now, the allotment of course and college will be done by University of Delhi centrally, and the list would be displayed on the admission portal. The applicants are advised to keep looking the admission portal frequently once the results are declared by NTA and University of Delhi. Only those applicants who satisfy the minimum eligibility criteria for the course will be considered for admission. So this is also very important. Then next is that the applicants allotted a course and a college or institution shall be required to confirm their interest in the admission by selecting and confirming the college from their dashboard within the stipulated time by University of Delhi. So in this case also the process remains the same. The principal director or HOD will either approve or decline the admission. In case there is lack of necessary documents, the candidate would be contacted. Please respond as soon as possible. No application will be left undecided, either approved or declined. The status would be reflected in your dashboard. Those approved, they are required to pay the fee and confirm their admission. Again, if you're not satisfied, you can raise your concern with the grievance committee. Then there is an option of spot admission round also in entrance examination. So the admission portal shall display the number of seats available in each course and college after the 3rd merit list. The interested applicants can click this option on their dashboard. Then the students will be allotted course or college as per their merit preference and availability of seats. But remember that this process is applicable only to those courses which are offered by multiple institutions, and not applicable to those applicants who have been allotted their first preference. So I think with that, I'll just stop and I will just hand it over to Dr. Jaya.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. The process has been smoothly delineated by your presentation. I believe it must have helped the participant in clearing out their doubts. But still, I am putting up the most frequently asked queries now being raised through the registration process, and I shall also be taking up questions through the question and the answer tab. The general most frequently asked question was related to the CBSE results. Since the result is out, and they say one of the question is, as per the CBSE guidelines, students will get a chance to give examination after the pandemic situation is over. but due admission has taken place, and if we do not get admission in the university and we qualify later stage after giving the re-exam, what will be the admission chance for them?
May I request Shobha ma'am to please answer this?
Uh, okay, so I know this is a little time for the anxiety. So as far as the knowledge that we have, I think the re-examination by CBSE should be conducted sometimes in the end of August. Now, just try to compare it with a similar situation as we had earlier, that students used to apply for re-evaluation and reappearing. So in case the students would get their results, before the admission process is closed, they are considered. If not, then they will be only considered in the next year cycle, for the admissions to DU. So similar case will prevail even this year. तो अगर जो है कुछ बच्चे हैं जो अपने शायद रिजल्ट से ज़रा खुश नहीं हैं, बट वो उसको इम्प्रूव करना चाहते हैं और सीबीएसई जो उनको मौका दे रहा है उसको वो उठाना चाहते हैं, मौके का लाभ उठाना चाहते हैं और दोबारा एग्जामिनेशन देना चाहते हैं, तो अगर आप लोगों का रिजल्ट जो है हमारे एडमिशन प्रोसेस को क्लोज करने से पहले आ जाएगा, आप अपने मार्क्स अपडेट कर सकते हैं और एडमिशन के प्रोसेस में भाग ले सकते हैं, नहीं तो आपको अगले साल तक इंतजार करना पड़ेगा.
Thank you, ma'am. On the similar line, we have another question about re-evaluation. That if they apply for re-evaluation for a particular subject, and then will I still be allowed to submit my current marks?
See, they can update their marks, in fact, almost till the time that we, till a few days before we announce the cutoff. And, as the situations are prevailing, we are expecting it sometimes in the 2nd or the 3rd week of September. So by that time, I'm sure the revaluation results for these students would have come. And in case, their marks are improved, they'll be allowed to update their marks on the board.
This is really regarding the admission form. If they have to edit and upload the documents, is it allowed in the admission form now?
The editings in the registration form, though of course, we had written it in the bulletin, we had put it up on the portal very, very carefully that no edits will be allowed. But I think, the applicants being applicants, so in order to, make it a little smoother for the applicants, we shall be giving a window for the students to make certain edits. Now they have to be careful. There'll be a certain mandatory fields which will not be allowed to be edited. The first one is the registered email, right? And the reason why that will not be allowed is basically because it is only through the registered email ID that they enter the portal. So the registered email ID will not be allowed to be changed. The category in admission, that they have applied to. So whether it be their UR, OBC, EWS, SC, ST category, or the EC and the sports category, these will not be allowed to be changed because, this is linked to the registration fees. So there are certain registration fees for different categories which are detailed in the bulletin and also on the website. That will not be allowed. In case, you have filled up only for, say, one entrance test, and later on, you suddenly realize that, no, you could have filled in for the second entrance test also. Now, since this is also related with the registration fees, because for every entrance test, there is an additional registration fees of either 750 or 300. So those will not be allowed to be edited. But we'll be giving them a chance to edit their, suppose they have entered a wrong name. Say, for example, my name is Shobha. So instead of SHOBHA, I put SHOBA, or their parents' name, or these kinds of mistakes that they have inadvertently done. We'll be providing them a window. And for uploading their updated certificates, because, these were again a number of queries coming from the students that we do not have the updated OBC certificate right now. We do not have the updated EWS certificate or in the sports or the, the NCC, NSS. So that is a time period we'll be giving for the students to put in their or upload their updated certificate. So they need not worry about all that.
So much, ma'am. This is a very common question that they're very apprehensive that what will be the procedure after the cutoff is out, the first cutoff is out. Then is it be in person, offline, online, and what would be the procedure?
Uh, okay, now see, this is, I think, because this is the change that we have done it for the first time this year. So once when the cutoff has been announced by the colleges, the students, would be able to see that where exactly in which course and in which college are they meeting the required cutoff and the eligibility. So in case, the student finds that there are 2 or 3 colleges where they are meeting the required eligibility and the cutoff, so a student has to make a very, very judicious decision कि which course and which college do they want to take admission. The only thing that they have to remember is कि पिछले साल क्या होता था कि बच्चा जो है अपना फॉर्म डाउनलोड करता था, वो अपना देखता था कि किस किस कॉलेज में जो है वो कट ऑफ और एलिजिबिलिटी मीट करता है और वो उस कॉलेज में जाता था उस कोर्स के अंदर एडमिशन लेने के लिए।
मैं ये चैट में जवाब देना चाह रहा हूँ पर इसमें आंसर लिखने का ऑप्शन नहीं आ रहा है।
Okay, I think Anand must be speaking to somebody. So anyhow, so what I was saying was that process has just been replaced by that now the student or the applicant sitting at home now will we have a choice to tick mark the course and the college which he or she wants to take the admission. And then of course the verification of his documents will be done from the college side. The colleges have their own committees which are going to verify the documents. And if all the documents are found to be in place, they will say, okay, the admission is approved. The candidate then pays the fees because the rest, all the other processes remains the same till last year, right? And in case there is any issue with the documents that are uploaded, we have requested, in fact, all the colleges that they can, contact the applicants on the mobile number or the email ID that has been registered with the DU website, and they can contact them, ask them to give them, if there is any clarifications to be sought out.
Ma'am, the other question is regarding hostel. They are asking that after the admission, if suppose they are sure that they would be taking admission in one college, then how does the procedure for admission in hostel takes place?
So I think for the hostel, this is a very, very college related issues, because, and specifically in the current situation, so that I think the colleges will have to make a decision that whether the, colleges will be providing the hostel at least for the coming semester or not. So I think it becomes a very college related issues. So I think we will advise that each student, if they are taking admissions into a particular college, they can, address this query to the administration or the help desk of that particular college to let them know that whether in the coming semester the hostel will be provided or not. Because I do not know, because the state that we are in. So we are still not sure whether an offline teaching will be able to take place, or will there be an online, or will there be a mixed type of teaching that will go on in the next semester. So that is certainly an uncertainty that is hanging over all our heads.
I have a question for Dr. U.S. Pandey, sir. The student says that he has got. Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah.
The student says that he has secured around 65%. So he wants to know the procedure for applying for correspondence open learning.
It's very simple. The moment the process will start, we will notify. Simply on the website, he has to just register through their mobile number or email ID. And as I mentioned, our process is very simple, exactly like this. And within 4 or 5 minutes, he can get the admission into the School of Open Learning easily. I think that is the question only. So simply he can get registered, and OTP will be received by his mobile number. Immediately he can get upload in all the information. And one thing I would like to mention again, Somaji has maybe probably told me, we do have all the information with the CBSE also. If he's a CBSE student, we automatically get the information from there. Even he need not to suppose fill up all the fields, the required many things. Many things automatically it will take from CBSE, and he can get admission in a very less time. Thank you. I think some audio problem. Hello.
Jaya, you will have to unmute yourself. Dr. Jaya, kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. The next question is subject related. It says that is mathematics essential for economic honors and BCom honors?
जब क्वेश्चन आता है, अच्छा टाइप आंसर को, ठीक है, मैं करता हूँ, जी मैं
Shobha ma'am, Hanif ma'am.
Okay, Hanif,
I'll
Hanif,
take
would you like to
this.
take that question?
Okay, Shubhaji, take it. Yeah, please.
Okay, so mathematics is required for BCom and economics honors. So unless and until a student has not studied mathematics in class 12, the candidate is not eligible to apply for eco honors and maths honors. And we would request the students that to kindly read up the bulletin of information which is already uploaded on the DU website, because in section 2 of the bulletin, we have very clearly mentioned that what are the eligibility criteria that we have for the honors. So in BA Honors Economics, it is mentioned that the applicant should have studied and passed mathematics at the qualifying examination, which happens to be our 10+2. And to calculate the best four, so they need to have one language, one concerned subject, which happens to be economics, and any other two best academic subjects from the list A and list B, which is there in the bulletin. In case they have not studied economics and they are not including economics in the best four, then there will be a deduction of 2.5%. So mathematics, they may or may not count in the best of four, but they must have studied and passed mathematics in the class 12th examination.
Question is that is there percentage deduction for stream change? Very commonly asked.
I think this must be related to the BA program course, because in the others, I don't think so it makes a difference. In the BA program, in the bulletin, it is mentioned that if there is a change in the stream, there will be a deduction of 5%. But we have requested, in fact, most of the principals so as to not to impose these conditions. And in fact, most of these principals have also agreed not to impose these conditions. In case, there is a college or two that would still like to go with it, but I think there will be no college as it is. But in case there is such thing, we'll be displaying that on the DU website. But most of the principals have agreed not to do that for us.
The other question is related to the entrance exam admission test that DU conducts, that if somebody wants to change the examination entrance center, because now new centers have been added by DU recently. So can it be done now?
It cannot be done on the registration portal, but in case there are any applicants, who are wanting to choose the center which got added, I think 2 or 3 days after we opened up the centers which were added. So in case only for those cases, that they had submitted the forms before we opened up this 4 centers, and they want a change, they can write directly to the admission office@admission.du.ac.in, or they can write to the help desk, and we can see that how we can help them.
In the ISC boards, account subject is considered equivalent to the CBSE accountancy, or there will be any deduction in this?
I think we have put up some equivalents already in our annexure. I think it was annexure 8. So I don't recall whether we had put, if it is not there in the annexure A, then we will just request that the candidates, they just give us the syllabus of their ICSE accounts paper, and we will get that ratified from the concerned authorities about the equivalence.
Shobha ma'am, I just checked, it is mentioned in the appendix.
So if it is mentioned in the appendix, so then there should not be an issue.
The other question is regarding a change in the mark sheet. If by chance there is some correction in the mother's name or the child's name, what can be done now?
So I think the applicant must be saying that in case they were issued a mark sheet which did not have the correct, either of their parents' name, but there was a correction.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
So,
ma'am. Mother's name.
Yeah, so naturally, because see, these are certain things, which gives us the, the identity proof of the applicant. So I'm sure कि ना student ने या तो कोई affidavit भरा होगा या CBSE में लिखा होगा, because that kind of document is something that we shall require. So if the students can, also upload that, and we also are asking for certain supporting documents, which are your either the passport or the Aadhaar card, where the parent's name is already mentioned. So in case, the board has made certain mistake, but they have the other documents, which at least verify what the candidate is saying, that will be preferred.
Okay, ma'am. This question is regarding the sports admission. I request Subhan Kumar sir to answer this question, that this time there are no trials for sports, and a list with, so how the list will be generated on the basis of certificate of performance. If suppose they got similar marks, two students have got similar marks on the type of certificate they have submitted. So what will be the criteria of merit, sir?
We have asked to upload 3 best certificates in sports. This was done last year also. And this year, since trials cannot happen, so we have decided to do it on the basis of marking of certificates only. And as far as tiebreaker rule is concerned, it is already given in the BOI on page number 50, that in case of tie, what we will do and how we will try to resolve this issue. And the entire admission process of sports will be based upon marking of certificates, and one highest certificate will be counted and marks will be awarded out of 100. So since there are no trials and it is already given in the BOI, so the sports admission will take place accordingly.
Okay, so similarly on the sports trials only, that earlier they were on the number distribution of the seats were on the basis of the position. For example, in basketball, or position number, types of position in a game. But this time they have just mentioned that this number of seats in this game per game. Will be demarcated further, sir?
No, we see the Sports Council also requested us not to give us this position, because we are selecting candidates for certain sports. And when the trials were happening, then these positions were being decided, because in course of trial, they used to find out the candidate is fit for which position. So since this time the trials are not there, so positions are not there. Only games and activities are identified, which are for boys, which are for girls, and the admissions will be done on the basis of that list only. There are 27 categories which are listed, and in that all 27 category admissions will be done. So there will be no separate marking or separate identification of position this year.
Thank you, sir. The next question is related to the content equivalent certificate. The student has mailed his syllabus to the email ID provided for his syllabus. What is the next step for this content equivalent certificate?
So in case the student has already mailed it to us, in fact, we are getting such queries and then we are forwarding it to the concerned authorities. So as soon as we get the reply for that, whether it is equivalent or not, we shall be updating that on our university website.
Regarding the gap year students, I request Hanif ma'am, He is a gap year student that he has joined his college in his state in 2019, and now he has. Hello.
ठीक है, ओके, ठीक,
आनंद सर आप कुछ कह रहे हैं?
नहीं, sorry.
Okay. Haneet ma'am, it is regarding the gap year student. He says that he had already joined a college in 2019, but did not appear for the final exam. Now he has withdrawn his admission. He has only got the transfer certificate and a character certificate. He's asking that a migration certificate will also be required in his case.
You see now that this is equivalent to taking a fresh admission, because he's so gap year, first of all, the gap year will not affect his candidature. He'll be treated equally as other candidates. Regarding migration, at the time of admissions, if a particular college asks for a migration, then he may have to produce the migration certificate. But for registration, he does not require any migration certificate. For registration, he only requires the essential certificates which are equivalent to other courses similarly. So for example, if he's coming for a UG course, he will have to put in the certificate of class 12, and his percentage would be considered of his earlier years. So what I mean to say is that gap year would not affect his candidature to take admission. Migration certificate from the earlier institute may be required if the college so wishes to.
Okay, ma'am. The other question is, can I include English as language and French as subject?
Which course is this for?
Course is not mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's asking for, I think, BA for economics, but the question it's not mentioned clearly.
Okay. So, let me answer, because I was looking into your chats and there are several questions related to how to calculate the best for which subject
yes, ma'am.
Considered for their calculating best 4 or best 3 and so on and so forth. For all such because I saw there were around 100 mails asking similar question. So I think what as admission branch we would like to tell all the students is to look into the bulletin of information. जो ये बुलेटिन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन है वो अंग्रेजी और हिंदी दोनों में उपलब्ध है. आप बुलेटिन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन में जिस कोर्स के लिए आप आना चाहते हैं उसका पहले तो आप एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया और बेस्ट 4 में क्या आते हैं उसको ध्यान से देख लीजिए. मतलब ऐसे तो शायद हमें भी याद नहीं रहेगा किसके लिए कितना बेस्ट 4 में कौन से सब्जेक्ट्स ऐड हो सकते हैं कौन से नहीं होते हैं. देयर आर सो मेनी कोर्सेज. लेकिन आप अगर उसको बुलेटिन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन में देखेंगे तो हम भी आपको वहीं से ही पढ़ के बताएंगे एक्चुअली. तो आप बुलेटिन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन ध्यान से देखिए और उसमें देखिए कि आपको बेस्ट 4 के अंदर मैथ्स इंक्लूड करना है कि नहीं करना है. अगर आप किसी लैंग्वेज के लिए जा रहे हैं तो आपको वो लैंग्वेज पढ़ी होनी चाहिए. चलिए आप मैथ्स ऑनर्स के लिए जा रहे हैं तो बेस्ट 4 में आपको मैथ्स इंक्लूड करनी ही पड़ेगी. जैसे अभी प्रोफेसर शोभा बगई ने बताया था इकोनॉमिक्स के लिए मैथ्स पढ़ी होनी चाहिए लेकिन जरूरी नहीं है कि आप उसको बेस्ट 4 में कैलकुलेट करें. कुछ कोर्सेज हैं फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप अरेबिक या पर्शियन में अगर आप करना चाहते हैं अंडर ग्रेजुएट तो आपसे उन्होंने बहुत सारी सब कैटेगरीज बनाई है कि अरेबिक लैंग्वेज जो है या पर्शियन लैंग्वेज या उर्दू जो है आपने इस लेवल तक 10th तक पढ़ी होनी चाहिए या सर्टिफिकेट किया होना चाहिए या डिप्लोमा किया होना चाहिए. तो इतने सारे उसके कॉम्बिनेशंस हैं. it would be really advisable to please read the bulletin of information. अंग्रेजी और हिंदी दोनों में है. वहां पढ़िए कि आपके बेस्ट ऑफ 4 किस सब्जेक्ट के लिए कौन से कॉम्बिनेशन की मान्यता होगी. So I think that answers for this particular question also, whether they can add French into this. If you're coming for, let's say, BA French, you will be asked to have studied French. But I'm not sure if economics there, as Dr. Anand has also represented list A and list B, वो सारा टेबल भी दिया हुआ है और उसके कॉम्बिनेशंस भी दिए हुए हैं. तो अगेन I would advise everybody to look at the bulletin of information carefully. हम भी आपको वहीं से ही बताएंगे, उसको ध्यान से देखिए और उसके अंदर कॉम्बिनेशन ध्यान से पढ़ लीजिए हर कोर्स के. और हाँ FAQs भी जरूर ध्यान से देखिए, उसमें बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल्स दिए हुए हैं और आपकी सारी जो ये प्रश्न है उनके जवाब हमने बहुत एग्जाम्पल्स के माध्यम से भी समझाने की कोशिश की है. तो एक बार सारे FAQs और एग्जाम्पल्स भी ध्यान से पढ़ लीजिए. मात्र 70-75 पेजेस का डॉक्यूमेंट है और उसमें भी अगर आप जो एलिजिबिलिटी के लिए वो .2 ऑनवर्ड्स केयरफुली देख लीजिए. ठीक है.
Thank you, ma'am. One last question. Can I choose best 4 as English core, commerce, accountancy, and Hindi elective? Please confirm if English core and Hindi elective can be combined in best 4, as though clear guideline is given in DU bulletin for taking 2 language subjects, core and elective, from list A of best 4. How is it done, and how will be the deduction in percentage if we calculate best 4? This is for BCom program, BCom.
I request Dr. Shobha, if she's there, Dr. Shobha Bagai, or I'll take this.
Yeah, I'm there, Haneet. Okay, so I think for the BCom, what the question basically the student is asking is that whether 2 languages can be included or not, right? And as Dr. Haneet, had already mentioned that we will also be looking, and is this for BCom program or BCom honors, Jaya?
BCom program.
BCom program, okay. So if you look at the eligibility criteria for the BCom program, so it clearly mentions that you must have scored a 40% or more in English / Hindi, and a combination of best 3 from among the following subjects: mathematics, accountancy, economics, and business studies or commerce. And if you are including any other subject from list B other than mentioned above in the combination of best 3, it will lead to a deduction of 1%. So it is, if your Hindi elective is not coming in your list B, Hindi elective is coming in your list A. So inclusion of any subject other than those in list A and list B in the combination of the best 3 will lead to a deduction of 2.5% per subject. So that is what I think even Dr. Haneet was saying कि आप लोग जो है प्लीज ये बुलेटिन को बहुत केयरफुली पढ़िएगा. तो अगर आप बीकॉम की एलिजिबिलिटी कंडीशन पढ़ते हो तो उसमें बहुत क्लियरली लिखा हुआ है कि आप एक लैंग्वेज को लोगे, एंड अगर आप जो है मैथमेटिक्स, अकाउंटेंसी, इकोनॉमिक्स और कॉमर्स में से जो है कोई भी और 3 सब्जेक्ट्स लेते हो तो कोई आपके पास डिडक्शन नहीं होगा. इन सब्जेक्ट्स के अलावा अगर आप लिस्ट बी में से कोई और अदर सब्जेक्ट लेते हो लिस्ट बी में से, तो आपके पास 1% डिडक्शन होगा पर सब्जेक्ट इन दी एग्रीगेट. और अगर आप लिस्ट ए में से कोई जो है सब्जेक्ट उठाते हो, जो इस केस में इस एग्जांपल में आप हिंदी इलेक्टिव उठा रहे हो, so that will lead to a deduction of 2.5% per subject. So that's how the calculation of the best 4 is going to be done.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Due to time constraint, we have to wrap up today's session. We couldn't take up all questions during today's webinar, but we will be sure to follow up afterwards. Thank you to all those who attended our webinar, UG Admissions 2020. We are thrilled by the attendance and overwhelming response of registrations. We would also like to thank our expert panel from DU Admission Branch, NC Web, and Campus of Open Learning. We are fortunate to have all of you here. Thank you so much. I also thank our principal ma'am for her able guidance as always. I thank the webinar coordinator, Dr. Anand Sonkar. I extend my thanks to Dr. Pratibha Pant and Dr. Prabhanshu Ojha, our team members for today's webinar. In case you were not able to attend the webinar today or would like to re-watch the webinar, the recording can be viewed on Hansraj's official page on Facebook. Thank you again for the presence. We look forward to bringing you much more such webinar to aid in for the smooth admission process. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, have a bright future. Thank you.
Special thanks to you also, Jia.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.